thanks for tuning up my guitar.
Yeah. All right. Can you just talk a little more?
So the first time I saw a grown man naked as a child, I was probably at Bible camp and maybe just trying to find out exactly who I was.
All right.
The recipes you see on the back of the macaroni and cheese boxes is really just embellished macaroni and cheese.
I gotta take all the shit out of my pockets.
My second wife's death did look like an accident, but it's still debatable. I don't remember much of it.
All right.
This is episode 4, right?
Yeah.
Episode 4?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, here we are.
Cool. Episode 4.
Dirty Basement. We're in the Dirty Basement with Nate Marks, comedian, screenwriter,
Oh, wow.
and musician, Nate Marks.
Yes. Entertainer sums it up.
Entertainer, yeah.
Entertainer.
Welcome to the Dirty Basement Talk.
Thank you. I gotta say, I'm not a fan of podcasts, but I love dirty basements. Getting in them, hanging out. This little cellar dweller right here. It's nice. It was a nice rainy, gray, kind of cold day, so I feel like just when you're kind of covered in like bad weather and it's cold and shivery, I like coming into a basement just to kind of like.
Especially with neon lights. It's just like Blade Runner.
Well, yeah, it sure is.
I like rainy days and neon lights.
Neon lights. That's right.
Yeah.
So cheers. Thanks for having me to your basement.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, I think I've been starting all these episodes with Bill Madey.
Bill Madey.
Yeah. That's why you came to Bethlehem.
That's why I came to Bethlehem. That's a fact. He was a big inspiration, and he was a pillar. Still is a pillar of the open mic music community, and he was running a place that is now a parking deck garage, the Wildflower, where dreams have been crushed and replaced with a parking deck for college kids or whatever. But it's
college kids Porsche.
It was nice. It was a really good place, and I got to be experimental and free. I wasn't actually that proficient as a musician, so I got to do a lot of experimental stuff before I knew how to play chords and sing along. I was doing like a lot of rubber chicken stuff, microphoning, electric fans, and doing unusual music.
Plankings.
Yes, pancakes.
I said plankings.
Oh, plankings. Okay, yeah.
Any kind of plinking sound.
Anything that planked or planked, or sounded sort of like a pancake, I was in on. Yeah.
So yeah, what I guess what drew you to the area other than the fact that Bill's open mics.
I'm originally from Allentown, and then from 9th and Liberty, if anyone wants to take a tour. Hot dog country, like the urban hot dog country, really close to Yakos. So I have a little bit of that hot dog build up in my DNA. We went to Albertus when I was about 6 or 7 because my parents knew I was getting into loose women and fast cars, and I was only 6. I'd bring women back to my crib, and literally it was just like a crib, and it's not funny. So I went to Albertus. I forget if I should be Nate Marks the product or Nate Marks this your friend in a basement.
Just be Nate Marks a friend in the basement.
I'm a tragic failure and I cry every night. But the facade I give to the world is that of amusement and joy. Yeah. That's the image I'm projecting.
Yeah. I know.
But I'll be doing dishes tomorrow morning.
Yeah. Where at?
I do not want to besmirch the great reputation of my employers. So I work in People's Kitchen. It's actually one of the few.
It's great. I like People's Kitchen.
I do too. The People's Republic of Kitchens.
Even after working there, you're happy with it.
I told them, and I mean this, and hello if anyone's watching, it's the first time I've ever worked for an employer that I like.
That's cool.
The human, we're all humans. I really never found that. Usually you're an expendable number. Or a statistic,
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And they're nice people, really good people. So I'm grateful for that. And since I'm here, I'm going to plug my show. March 7th, we're going to call it the Comedy Kitchen. It's a Saturday night, March 7th at 7 p.m. Joey Tepedino, Kyle Neff, Mary Brooks, myself are going to be opening up for the very legendary Tony Viagra, who is one of a kind, and he's a big inspiration. And not everybody gets him, and he's not for everybody Not everybody's supposed to get him. I personally love him.
Yeah.
He is called the gangster of comedy because he's been routinely kicked out of many venues because of his sensational brand of comedy. He's a little abrasive, if you will, and he's sort of like Tony Clifton, the Andy Kaufman character. Like, a little too much for the audience, or he's sort of like Neil Hamburger.
Yeah.
You might have seen from Tim and Eric or whatever. Yeah, he's like these, but he's like that. He kind of looks like a gritty lounge singer in a displaced era. He has like a red bow tie.
Does he wear a bowling hat?
No, I would call it some sort of like a derby, some sort of derby hat.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, I didn't know bowlers had hats. I thought that was one thing.
I don't know.
They have shoes.
Isn't there a bowling hat?
Isn't there a bowling hat? No, I don't think there's bowling hats.
I think I just made that up right now.
I think the only sport that requires hats is like race car driving. They always have a race car driver hat. It has to say Tide or something. You have to endorse a product. But that's March 7th.
Baseball has hats.
They do. They don't. Yeah, they have hats. My bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. But speaking of hats, March 7th at the People's Kitchen will be a comedy night, and the sensational comedian Kyle Neff has a great bit on hats, and I hope he's watching. And if you like hats, and you like jokes, and you like jokes about hats, and you like people named Kyle Neff, I highly recommend coming out.
Kyle Neff does have some good hat jokes.
He does, but we won't get into it because I don't want to spoil.
No, we're not.
The
Absolutely.
fun.
No, we're just
Yeah.
But so, how was the last roast battle?
There was just a roast battle Friday night. I won in the month of October. It was a very good month for me. Probably the peak of my short-lived little career here. And then Lakeisha Williams, a very funny comedian from Easton, she won the following month. And then we two were pinned against each other. Good old friends like me and Lakeisha were pinned against each other to insult each other for the amusement of others. How dare they? How dare you? People out there putting people together to insult each other for your sick joy, and it's like watching Christians get fed to lions. I mean, personally, I like Christian meat. I think it's really good, and it's good for the main lions eat it. But anyways, about the roast battle, I went in with guns a-blazing. I had my ass handed to me. Lakeisha Williams won. Good for you, Lakeisha. I'll remember that. I had fun. I was glad that I got to go against a great person, a great comedian. So It was fun. I wish I won. It would have given me a renewed sense of purpose. But, I sleep better when I cry, so...
You do a lot of crying.
I do a lot of crying, punching the dumpsters, wondering why. I was like... It's Lehigh Valley. We could say it's like, me being the best comedian of Lehigh Valley is like, it's like bragging about Special Olympic stuff. Like, no offense to, probably, Down syndrome runners that could kick my ass and would, but I'm just saying, we're all small potatoes out here, and we're trying to make something happen, but I really like the fact that the comedy community is getting together. There's good things happening. My good friend Joe Ferraro, he's putting together a lot of, call it the Easton Comedy Offensive. Did a show at the Lafayette, doing a show at Connections Gallery, doing a show at the little gallery behind Connections Gallery, and, good people are coming out, and it's nice to have a forged community of comedians working together. I find that sometimes it could be a little, how would you say, jealous and mean-spirited, so people don't really support each other, but it's nice to have, I would say, a community effort to make it work together. So,
that's cool. Everybody seems to be coming out to shows. It was packed. It was great. I had a great time.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, for Friday night.
I felt like you needed a bigger venue. I mean, I like the Connections Gallery, but definitely it was there's a lot of people without seats.
Sure,
it was crazy.
I was, you could just wait, lock eyes and wait for a lap to open up. Just don't break eye contact because that's when they can smell your fear. But you just lock the eyes. Put the person in a chair in their place, and then slowly back, maintaining the eye contact, slowly back your ass down, and relax upon a stranger's lap.
That's how you do it?
That's how I do it.
It's a power move.
And then once I'm in it, I still don't look away. I just stay there, So you miss half the show, but at least you're comfortable. Yeah.
I can't get over that.
Blend. I'm doing open mic. If
I don't
talk. You want me to sit over here? You can answer for me.
Yeah. I don't talk.
Yeah, that's okay.
I actually...
Marijuana leads to, what's it called? Short-term memory. Yeah. What's it called? No, talk dirty to me. You said dirty basement talk.
Dirty basement talk.
I feel like people clicked on this clickbait to hear us discuss some like anatomical things, you know? How's your discharges, Mike? What gets you hard, Mike? What gets you going, you know? It's dirty. It's dirty.
Yeah.
It's dirty, yeah.
I know.
I'm going to take a sip of my beverage.
Take a sip. What's Comedy Kitchen?
Comedy Kitchen is a people's kitchen. It's just going to be comedy done inside the kitchen.
That's the name of it.
Mm-hmm. So okay. I'm operating in their establishment, but it's not, you know, restaurant hours are closed. We're doing jokes that wouldn't fly in the daytime, you know?
Yeah.
I hope
time
anybody
is
comes.
that at?
7 p.m. 7
okay.
p.m. It's $10. 5 comedians all together, but it'll be a wonderful night. And I have never actually got to meet Tony Viagra before. Mm-hmm. And I've seen him on YouTube, and I've seen the name, and I've heard the reputation. His reputation precedes him, as they say. So
yeah. So do you have some songs that you're writing or anything like that?
As far as like sitting down writing a song, I have to find like myself being really inspired, and that just happens organically. Like one day, I have 50 songs that are my own. The last time I wrote a song, I think it was Edward Penis Hands. I have instrumental like melodies that I sometimes play. Masturbating in Front of Your Pets was the last time I sat down and had a new song. And dare I confess, it's a thing I think pet owners have experienced. So it's one of those things that's like not talked about. But immediately, there should be like a word for it in another language.
Where did this come up
like,
from?
Like, you know, It means masturbating in front of your pet. The sensation you're being watched and judged, but you don't really care because it's an inferior life force. You know? But it's a funny song, and I don't know who else to play with, but I play the bass on it, and a really good guitarist named Vanessa Marciano from a band called Feller. She played it with me twice. I've only played the song 2 times, and I recorded it once on my home on my robot, an unprofessional field recording on my robot. I don't really have any musical friends other than you and maybe a handful of ones, and some are dead. But I don't really get to play music with people because, you know, I'm unlikable. People don't like hanging. They don't like my company, and if they did, they don't want to play songs about the things I like to sing about. I think it's important to have a sense of humor, and my songs, they dare to provoke. They dare to provoke a little bit of fun.
Yeah, where do you, like, what inspired that one particularly? What moment did you come up with the line for the song? Well,
the first line is, I thought I was alone and in need of some privacy. It's because I have cats. And I don't know if you release a pheromone. Hi, this is going out to Cosmo, Salo, Topo, and Juggalo. I have 4 cats. And my roommate, she has a snake and a gerbil and a hamster. But my roommate got an internet boyfriend, forgot about the gerbils, and it died. One died.
An internet boyfriend? What's that?
They're like real boyfriends, but you meet them on the internet. And they redirect your focus that should be given to pet care to, I don't know, internet boyfriend antics. But I don't want to talk about that. That's a private matter. I was just making a joke. But that's actually the next song. May I sing a bar? I've only had the first line.
Yeah.
She got herself an internet boyfriend. Forgot about the gerbil and it died. That's all I got. And I don't know if I should just repeat it over and over, and then, like, you know, a little bit of a rhyme scheme and this and that. But it's like a country spoof, and
you're working it.
It's a work in progress, but I don't ever sit down and force it, because if you ever, some of my favorite musicians, you could like go through an album with a comb, and like that one he pulled out of his ass. Mm-hmm. That's a song that was squeezed out of an ass, like forcibly, no chaser, like, oh, that hurt getting out, and it was not good, you know. Like a true organic song, a real piece of art should come from the body readily available. Like you birthed it with pride, not like forced it out like like a brittle pine cone. I don't know. But at the same time, that's music. Sometimes, I mean, it is good to be a tortured genius and like go crazy painting the Sistine Chapel or, whatever, throwing yourself against canvas.
There is a particular story that you have around the Juggalo Boat Cruise song.
Okay. About how that song came about?
Yeah.
Well, I always, I'm 37 and single, ladies. I used to be aware of ICP growing up in the 90s. I knew it was a thing. And, it was one of the funny things is I was a bit of an oddball. I never liked music in people's cars, whether it was mostly like gangster rap or Sublime. It was just all cheesy to me. It was all cheesy, you know what I mean? I don't know, maybe I'm just, whatever. I was listening to whatever other stuff. But ICP was one of the things that would be in these CD mixes on burn rides and listen to this music. It's whatever. So I had no idea that ICP was still going strong. I had no idea. And I was working at a warehouse for Zumba, the trendy fitness stuff that flopped. And there was this girl, and she was always wearing this shirt that says, "Not a gang, we're not a gang." And she had a Hatchet Man necklace. And she was a dumpy thing. She had cold sores all the time. She was always waddling around. And I saw her walking around, and I always just make conversation. And I was like, "Hey, what gang aren't you in again? What gang aren't you a part of? I just want to clarify, just in case I thought you weren't in a gang. I want to know what gang you're not in, And she goes, "I'm a juggalette, and juggalettes and juggalos are fans of ICP." And I'm like, "The clown rap from the 90s?" She goes, they're going strong. They're still going strong. I'm like, okay. So that was a lesson I took home. And I had no idea that what the cultural movement was behind it. And I YouTubed it, and I found out that there was ICP fans called Juggalos and Juggalettes, and there's funny documentaries on it where it's Morgan Freeman doing narrations for the Penguin documentary, but it's talking about how the male will leave the nest and look for a mate, and it's just showing Juggalos getting all fucked up and wandering around tents and drinking soda and spray painting their children's faces with spray paint, actual poisonous paint, Anyways, I went back to work wow, I had no idea. That's something else. And she said, "Yeah, me and my boyfriend we're gonna save up and go to a Juggalo boat cruise." I'm like, all that I saw is gonna be on a boat? You're gonna go around? And so I had this song called Juggalo Boat Cruise, where it's kind of a song that celebrates finding pride in who you are, learning to accept yourself, and that's the song. Juggalo Boat Cruise is about it's how would you say, exposure of a culture. It's like Americana. People talk about, cowboys or gangster rap or, whatever. It's examples of what kind of people are what kind of people. That's the song for the Juggalo. I don't think other than ICP, I don't think there's songs for the Juggalo, and there should be a song because it is definitely cult-like. It is definitely a vibrant movement, and people take it very seriously. In fact, I joined a couple Juggalo groups just to know it. I'm
interested in your research on the Juggalo community.
Well, their podcasts are very similar to this, and by that I mean dimly lit and scary and kind of have a rapey overtone. No, there's one where this guy has clown makeup. He's like, "Welcome to Sassy B's Juggalo talk," and then "Derek, do you want pancakes?" And he's quiet, and you realize it's a 30-year-old man in his closet hiding with a secret podcast while his mom is offering him food, and he's afraid of his mom finding out. It's so bizarre that how could you not like it? If you're looking for just comic gold, just go sifting through Juggalo podcasts. It's hilarious.
Wow.
Yeah. Just the idea of a man in a closet hiding from his mom because he's a celebrity to another world in that medium. He's a celebrity to this group of people who are maybe not even watching, Yeah. And then he's something else somewhere else, It's the same equivalent to a house cat. How house cats are talking to ancient pharaohs and Egyptians and aliens in their dreams. You know what I mean? That's why they sleep so much. They're because they were worshipped as gods by the Egyptians. And so they sleep so much to be channeled all that cosmic energy that the pharaohs were harnessing. That was powering them, and the cats built the pyramids and were worshipped as the Sphinx. And then they wake up and you're fucking with them, scratching their belly, pulling their tail, you know what I mean? It's this dynamic, this shape shifting. I always thought that'd be a funny movie about I don't know what's going with that. Thank you. Thank you for sharing.
No, I love your research.
Yeah. So I've determined that Juggalo culture is like that of a house cat, referring to ancient pharaohs.
My thesis on Juggalo culture. I haven't heard you play the American Freedom song out in a while.
That was one of those things people start, like, I was playing this song, Edward Penis Hands.
Yeah.
And then I played 15, 20 songs, and then the one song that has a dildo that I use for the dildo solo.
Yes.
People then say, "Hey, did you bring the dildo?" Like, no, I didn't bring the dildo. I'm not the dildo guy. Like, I have so many songs. Sometimes I don't want to be the guitar guy, so I don't want to bring the banjo. And sometimes I don't want to be the song guy. I just want to make, like, oddball noise or, like, jazzy instrumental stuff. I like freeform improv and music that sometimes isn't lyrical. Or
does that seems to bother you that people kind of condense you to a gist?
Yeah, it's human nature to categorize and pigeonhole. It makes things easier to map out. People like putting labels on things. Mm-hmm. Like, it's, dare I say, everybody does it. We all.
Yeah, absolutely.
I represent some demographic that I don't want to, and you do too.
Yeah.
And so it's people just, and that's why I think I do comedy a lot now, because comedy is a little more universal than music, because people walk into a room and say, "Oh, that sounds like country, hard rock, blues rock, rap, electro," or it's like, "That's kind of sappy and mopey," or "That's kind of hard and thick." Music is like, hard and thick. But comedy is like, you know what I mean? Like all kinds of people, like, "Hey, that's funny." Like that's where they walk in. "Hey, that's funny," or "Hey, that's not funny. It's vulgar." But it's like the binary. It's funny or it's not funny. Yeah. Music, you have to be so picky, and I like bluegrass and I like reggae and I like heavy metal. So like I'll walk in and I'll hear all music and like that's cool. I don't have to worry about pigeonholing it. But I prefer genre defiance as a performer and entertainer. So like if I do a song like Psychedelic Man-Tits, which is my math metal, stoner metal.
Do you want to tell a story about Psychedelic Man-Tits?
Sure, I'll tell a story about Psychedelic Man-Tits. Well, there's a song.
Wait. Before we go into that.
But I'm just saying, when I do a song like that, I like a soft song as a chaser. Like some of my musicians, I really like Sun Ra, Frank Zappa, Ween.
Kind of like a palate cleanser.
A palate cleanser, yeah. It's like action reaction. Mm-hmm. So there's basically a variety. I don't want a one tone thing. Like I respect people like Dark Side of the Moon or Radiohead, but it's like, fucking find another emotion on the spectrum of human emotions. Like, this sounds like Marshmallows for 45 minutes. You know what I mean? Just like, I like a little variety. Yeah. But that's me,
Yeah, no, yeah, it is. It's funny with comedy that it has that ability to not really be pigeonholed too much. I mean, there are like,
who's putting holes in pigeons? Like, where did that even come from?
Yeah.
Right?
I don't know.
We just, as English speakers, we just take that term for granted.
I know. As soon as you said it, I just adopted it as part of my my language.
I made a word up.
Yeah,
I made that word.
But it is a funny thing. But there are comedians that he just does one-liners. Or,
Yeah.
He just
I like Mitch Hedberg, Robert.
I'm not no. But yeah, it's funny how music can really turn somebody off if it's a style that they don't like. Whereas comedy, they're a little bit more receptive to.
It's more universal.
Yeah. But I think I don't know. I think your perspective though. It's difficult because I thought about this too, and I think that even though it's open, even though comedy is more open to a certain type of person, not everybody can sit and listen to comedy. Not everybody has the, there's only going to be a small amount of people who are going to sit and listen to podcasts, and there's only going to be there's spoken language.
Especially this episode.
Yeah, especially this episode.
Yeah, this is a very fringe niche audience. Mom, hi Mom! Hey Mom, I'm on a basement TV! I'm on basement TV!
But I think comedy is a very literate medium. And there are different ways to get around that with performances. And I'm not going to say like Larry the Cable Guy is any less than somebody else doing something really witty, but it's still a very literate medium that I think the general population, I don't know how, I think it's whereas music, you just hear the sound. It's a little bit more. It's not less. It's just it hits you in a more intuitive place.
Sure.
So I don't know. So I guess that I'm just saying that maybe I slightly disagree with what your perspective is, but I
put it
do
this way:
see
it's
it.
easier for me to get gigs doing comedy than it is as a musician because the kind of music I do is like, jazz people don't want to hear the country music, and country music people don't want to hear the jazz music, and on top of that, they don't want me singing about like dildos and man-tits and pets and squirrels.
But comedy
and
lets you
Bigfoots.
do that. You can talk about
my
dildos.
comedy. I sneak in like personal tragedies and traumas and try to make like a joke out of it. But I'm really a big fan of the old Ching formula. I like one-liners. I don't like stories. I don't like I don't have a wife or a job to really talk about. So when people going on about like marriage life and stuff like that, it's like it works for some people. But I don't have like a conventional life where I can. Well, I mean, that guy I relate to, and I'll give you an example as to why he's one of my heroes and probably favorite comedian ever, is that he is an inspiration because he made his break at 50.
Yeah.
And he was a failed comedian in his 20s, and so for literally about 2 or 3 decades, he stockpiled jokes every day in like duffel bags. So when he released his comic Havoc on the World, he had 30 years of jokes he was sitting on. And he made it in his 50s, you know what I mean? Like shit, I'm 37, like I feel like a failure. But I want to do more, you know? But like, hey, maybe I'll make my break at 50 if I hang out, you know?
But I feel like it takes a lot of time. I mean, there are some
doing
really
this shit for like too many years for it not to pay off.
There are a lot of funny younger comedians, but still, I feel like people who are in their 30s and 40s, comedians, they really start to shine. Even if they were funny in their 20s.
Right, okay.
I feel like they keep going and really peak around that time because there's just something with, what do you...
I can get my booze.
There's that, I don't know, maybe it's the wisdom. I have no...
Yeah, sure, life experience, yeah.
You're a little bit more understanding of different walks of life, and you can understand how to relate to the world a little bit better because you lived in it longer, I guess.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, who wants to really hear about a 20-year-old's life experiences? You know what I mean?
I guess that does kind of annoy
I just
you.
Mom and Dad's, college, the frat house, girl passed out, and my friends fucked her. Like, I don't know, whatever people talk about. I don't morbid, but I don't. I just don't want to hear about. You have to have some sort of life experiences to bring to the table.
There's a performance aspect to having somebody who has that as well. Because if you like you said, if you see somebody as 20, you already have a prejudiced concept against them in some way or another.
For comedy, I don't have a prejudice. I mean, I give everyone a clean slate.
I mean, not consciously.
There's some great music, like some musicians.
Not consciously. It's not conscious. There's always a subconscious prejudice.
Yeah.
That's not maybe a big affecting factor, but, you're not going to believe a 20-year-old talking about marriage.
Right, sure.
But I want to go back to the story of the psychedelic man-tits.
Okay, so that's an example of one of my songs that's based on a real thing.
Yeah.
I am not a big I'm not a big party guy. I smoke marijuana.
I smoke marijuana.
I've tried a lot of stuff. I've done a lot of stuff, but
I didn't inhale it.
Well, I smoke it once in a while, but like I get demons, Like I have like Vietnam flashbacks. I wasn't even an AM, you know what I mean? It's like I just get to stare. But I used to take acid and mushrooms back when I was like 17 to maybe like 25, 26, and then I didn't trip for the longest time. And oh, that's right. This is a personal story. I forgot about it.
I think it's good. No.
Yeah. So the story is, I had this friend Mike, and I didn't see him for such a long time. It was such a long time that I didn't see this kid, and I was like best friends with him when I was a young kid, and so he gave me these we like wrestle or being mean. I was like 12 or 13. He gave me these really painful purple nurples. It was funny, but he broke the tissue underneath my prepubescent child nipple, and that broke off, and it was like really puffy. My nipples were super puffy for me growing up the whole time, and I kind of had like puffy nipples, And so, fast forward, I didn't hang out with this kid for like 20 years. I have no idea, and I kind of bumped into him on the robot world, and we reconciled and hung out. And I had a roommate at the time named Angel, and Angel was a stark raving drug maniac. He loved drugs, had all kinds of drugs, and had so many drug stories with this guy Angel. And at any given moment, he was like Puerto Rican Hunter S. Thompson. At any given moment, he had like something in a briefcase, I've done ketamine with him. I've done like really bad coke with him. I've done all this stuff that's like, I don't know what it is, some of the stuff he has. But he always had acid or something funny like that. And so we're gonna drop acid at my house. And I'm like 33, 34. It was a couple years ago. And I'm hanging out with Mike Frankenfield, and I'm taking this acid, and all of a sudden, bad thoughts started flooding my mind, and I started feeling like my man-tits were growing. And I was like, I put on some weight, but like my man-tits were expanding, and my puffy nipples were feeling like engorged and puffier. And I had this idea that I was like transforming into this like woman, or this like this man-titted creature, And I remember like thinking and looking at Angel, and he's spaced out having a good time. Looking at Mike, he's spaced out having a good time. And I was like focusing on Mike, like he gave me these fucking man tits. And now I'm like taking acid with them years later, and the acid is opening up parts of my brain to connect the syntax of like all this childhood trauma. Like when I was first like gonna have sex with a girl when I was like 16 or 17, I'd take off my shirt and I'd be like really obsessive about my like puffy nipples, So I take this acid and I have a horrendous, awful experience, and I'm focused on these man tits, and I felt like this heightened sensitivity to my nipples weeks after, and this idea of like psychedelic man tits or this man tit themed bad trip really messed with my head and woke up all these demons. And I don't know if I'm in the right place to take acid again, but I had like a lot of repressed memories and a lot of things I like tried to squash or thought I had squashed. But the acid had channeled this man tit obsession, and I therapeutically worked out my issues through a little song called Psychedelic Man-Tits, which I'll share in the link on the bottom if you want to find this little man-tits slideshow.
Right below.
It's a great, and you play that song with me, but it's like a heavy metal song. I think it's called Witches. There's a French metal band called Witches Serpent or something like that. Mm-hmm. I was listening to a lot of this like doom metal or black metal, and it's like inspired by that. Not like speed or thrash metal. It's so dark and so good, and I really like this kind of metal that inspired it. So
yeah,
thank you.
Yeah,
that's something I never
like
get
that
stuck.
Story.
Yeah, sure.
I love that story.
But for the record, my nipples aren't that puffy anymore. See, now is that the first dirty topic of Dirty Basement Talk? I don't think you ever went to nipples. I don't think you ever took this talk.
No.
You didn't take this talk show to Nipple
Well, we
Town.
gotta ease it in. I like to start
Episode
slow.
4 is a great episode to kind of get your nipple foot into the door.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I don't like to just start talking about crazy things right away. I want to slowly ease people in.
Yeah.
I want to get them in a calm mood and then slowly build up to certain things that really
that's an example of one song.
Throw
if people
off.
hear the song or they like that song, that's just one variety, one style, one theme. And usually the topics are a little absurd or odd and kind of are brought from a real place or something. So they're not kind of just like a novelty concept pulled out of a hat. And like, I'm going to make a song about bananas,
Yeah.
Like I did make a song about bananas, but it was Bananas on Your Grave for Harambe, It's like, I just like believe in the assassinated
gorilla.
The assassinated gorilla, yeah. Poor guy.
So, with albums, how what would be the one album that you would recommend to people if they've never listened to your music?
Barbra Streisand, Guilty. Oh, you mean my own albums? Yeah. Okay. I mean, it's really good. Barry Gibbs is on it. Okay. Again, if I were to like pitch an introductory album, Hiva Hava is 20 songs, and it's basically a genre a checklist. Like, hey, you've heard it all: country, punk, metal, jazz, fun songs, improv, kind of quirky new wave, techno, bubblegum pop,
Badass of the night.
Yeah, there's 20 songs. I'm very, very proud of that. The one after that is called 9/11 Dolphin Porn. Half of it is songs all based on conspiracies. And I do say conspiracies, not conspiracy theories, because it sounds dismissive of some of these very unusual facts that are unconventionally inconvenient.
Do you want to talk about any conspiracies?
No, I don't want to get your show shut down already, but I'll tell you what. It's episode 4, you know? No, but anybody that can read can like see through the fine print. Anything that's on TV or radio is projected to you because there's a paid agenda. Everybody knows that you're supposed to be programmed to believe this or buy this or whatever. I think everything is not as you see, and everything is the mainstream everything. Like there's a
there's a lot of subtext.
A lot of subtext. We're all here. I don't. No, anyways, about albums. The albums I have.
Wait. Fuck your albums. Let's go to computers.
Well, all right. So one of the songs is called "Reptile Dawn," and it is dedicated to a friend, Don Volman. And when I worked at the video store, the 40-hour video store, they had, instead of customers, they had like lonely old guys that just want to talk about stuff. They've been coming in here and hanging out, and they'd be like pulling up like on the counter, like it's the bar, like at Cheers, like, hey, how you doing? And I had 3 people that would come by a lot, and it was Flat Earth Glenn, Reptile Dawn, and Skinhead Joe. And there were 3 people that I really enjoyed talking to them. And Reptile Dawn, he gave me a lot of books, some by Stuart Swerdlow, who does a lot of stuff on like the Anunnaki and Pleiadians, and basically the alien races that came here and made mixed with humans, mixed with Earth people.
Yeah.
David Icke writes about him, but this is one of the books before that. He's really into Hollow Earth theory, and Sir Admiral Byrd, who flew into...
What is Hollow Earth theory?
That we're just living on the outside, but there's actually a utopia, far advanced utopia of other races and Earthlings that live inside the Earth, and it's hollowed out. And that's why there's no aerial views, according to some sources, no aerial views of the North Pole, because it's a giant hole that you can fly into and have access, and this guy, Sir Admiral Byrd, talked about it. So Reptile Dawn is into that. Flat Earth Glenn would always show me things of rockets going up and hitting some biosphere and falling down, like or some sort of like dome, like an enclosed like snow globe that he lived in, and like he'd always be showing me this stuff, and he'd be obsessed with that. And Skinhead Joe was a well-intentioned, self-hating Jewish guy, and he's obsessed with like the Rothschilds and Jewish families that he claims run the world, and. And he would bring me a lot of books on this kind of stuff. But very interesting, and I love just the exchange of ideas in a mutually respectable setting and format, and celebrate free speech like that.
Setting a video store.
But yeah, so the owner of the video store despised me and had no idea like who these people were coming for hours and hours, and they're bringing books and magazines and sharing books. Oh, Reptile Dawn, his name was Joe Savage, and Flat Earth Glenn. We would just be exchanging ideas, and it would be wonderful. And all right, so this is where the story's going. I forgot, like, the story gets good. So Reptile Dawn came in one time, and he told me some good stuff. He's a great guy. He was a Vietnam vet, really fun guy. He's an old guy in his mid-70s, wore a Twin Peaks shirt, which I'm not a fan, but, he's like hip. He likes weird horror movies. He always give me good movies. I have so many movies at the house that he gave me. But he came in one day, and he goes, "Huh, hey, you see this?" It was a Clint Eastwood movie, and there was a dwarf actor named Billy Bartow. He was one of the Lollipop Gang, I believe, and the Munchkins and the Wizard of Oz. Yeah. It's like Clint Eastwood and this midget actor, and Reptile Dawn goes, "Huh, you see that guy? You see him?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's a Clint Eastwood movie. That guy, he molested me. He molested me." I said, "No. That dwarf actor molested you?" "Yeah, he molested me. Back in the mid-'60s, the Westgate Mall had the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile, and they had the Wienermobile up there, and me and Sonny Sanders, we get into the Wienermobile, and he's there with something probably attached to his feet so he could reach the pedals, and we're going around the turn, and he puts his hand on my lap, And I had big hands for a 12-year-old. I smack his hands and go, what are you doing? And he goes, don't tell anybody. I could lose my career, you know? And I guess they drive around a couple laps. This midget child molester, aspiring molester, they drive around a couple laps and drop off Don Volman. And he goes on with his life, survives Vietnam War, marries, divorces, has family, goes on his whole life. He probably held on to this secret, right? And we forged this camaraderie and community of odd people at the video store talking with each other, all these crazy things. Mm-hmm. So he comes into the video store one day with it in a brag-like tone to share. Huh, you see this? And so he probably got that off his chest, and it felt so good, right?
Yeah.
That some like Spanish mom coming there buying some superhero movie for the family. Yeah. She's there, and Don's standing around. Huh, hey. You know, lady has no idea who this guy is. She's looking at him.
She just got after shift.
She just got after shift. She's trying to get home, watch some blockbuster movie. And Don goes, you see that guy, that midget? He molested me. Like, gets her change, like walks out, you know? And he did it like 2 or 3 more times. And so, one of the things that he brought to the table is there's a book by this bee actress. I don't know what it's called. David Icke, the reptilian guy, he references it in some of his books. But there's an actress that claims MK12 brainwashing government, these brainwashing programs, which are proven that they existed. A great movie about it is called The Manchurian Candidate.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I mean, there's the remake too, but
Denzel
that's
Washington.
an example of it. That's an example of programming someone to be an assassin or a killer. This MK12 experiment, according to this lady, she said she survived hell on a private island that Sylvester Stallone owned, in which Sylvester Stallone would get hijacked B-movie actresses onto this island and would make them do dolphin porn, record it, and make VHSs, and then send them out to the royal family, the billionaires, and the elitists of the world. So, we'll be at...
Wait, this was a
This was a book. Yeah, he brought the book in, and I read it. I'm reading about
What's the name of the book?
I don't know. You look up Sylvester Stallone dolphin porn, and I guarantee 2 things are going to come up. This book and my song. These 2 things. So we'll have Flat Earth Glenn going on about how the Earth is flat, you know, and people don't want to talk about it, the scientists.
Yeah,
and then you have Joe Savage going on about how Mossad helped arrange 9/11, or about the Rothschilds banking dynasty, and then... then I'll talk about JFK or something, and then all of a sudden, Reptile Don goes, huh? Yeah, you think that's something? Sylvester Stallone's making dolphin porn! Like, totally breaks the ice, And so, I love the concept of it, and I mean, God forbid it's true, but the first line in my song called Reptile Don, and in parentheses, like a country song, Sylvester Stallone is making dolphin porn. The first line goes, in a weenie mobile, he was touched by a dwarf. All you need to know, Reptile Don is the source. And so that's the first line, but the song is a celebration of all the people that I have met at the video store and some of the more interesting ideas that they brought to the table. And it was very nice to know these people. And I'm glad I did. Yeah. And I thought it was a good inspiration for a song. So that's an example of my... seemingly absurd song from nowhere is actually rooted in reality. That I feel like I'm a conductant of unusual energies, and I meet a lot of interesting people like that.
Definitely.
Yeah.
You definitely do. So there's
you and I have played that song many times.
I know
we played that in Allentown, right in it was called like, I don't know, some festival, but dressed up like homeless people with American flag capes. That was a great show.
That was a fun show.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to talk about a Sharemoore?
Yeah, totally.
I think that story.
That was the last time I've ever been in love. The last time I felt love.
Yeah.
There's this girl named Sharemoore. She, I loved her very much. She's probably, and you met her. She's one of the funniest people I've ever met. She's probably still very funny
and very attractive.
She's very attractive, which, beauty is skin deep. You
know what I mean?
Like, like looking back, like I would love to find somebody just a little dumpier with just a nice heart, God forbid. You know what I mean? I would trade all that voluptuous sexiness for just don't fuck me over and destroy my dreams, it's a tough cookie, you know?
Balance.
Very, very beautiful, physically beautiful person, and she was very funny, and we had a lot in common, it seemed, but she, I guess, got it in her head that it would be a great idea to take my bank information and take all my money. That would be hysterical. So I was like a very depressed person. I worked 2 jobs 7 days a week for God knows why. I worked a warehouse and I worked at a video store. And I knew the video store was not a lucrative job. I just loved movies. I loved being around. And I felt like I was a living dinosaur. And it's a very rare privilege to be in a video store, to be a part of it, the 48-hour video store chain. So I worked all the time, and I would sometimes like stock up my paychecks. I didn't even cash them, so I'd like have like 3 or 4 paychecks just stocked up, and I would like cash them when I felt like it. She took out a lot of money with identity theft, and I remember going to a 7-Eleven and buying a cup of coffee, and my card was declined. Like, what do you mean my card's declined? And there was no money in it. And I was the kind of simpleton that would think, I don't get it, but if I had like $400 or $500 in my bank account, I'm good. Even if it should be $2,300, I'm still thinking like, where's all that money? I don't know. Maybe I'm just drinking a lot, spending on food and buying stupid stuff. But if I saw $400, $500, I'd be like, at least I got $400, $500 in my account. So I always would have the same number, no matter how many paychecks I'd put into it. And I was so unsavvy. I had no flip phone, no cell phone. I was one of the last guys to ever get one. I didn't have the internet, so I didn't really do any like online banking. I was just oblivious to looking at my account. I was oblivious, and I was very naive in believing somebody would do that, or believing somebody would not do that, So my car was declined, and then I went to find out what's the deal. And I went to the bank, and they were reading all these transactions of stuff. I was like, I didn't buy that. I didn't buy diapers. I didn't buy a bear. I didn't buy shoes. I didn't buy like Pizza Hut. And then I got these flashbacks, like a mystery movie put together. Like every time I saw Sharamar, there would always be like a Pizza Hut box in the background, And so she was routinely getting Pizza Hut for her family once a week, or whatever. And that's what I called it. And I told the bank, I called them up like, I know who's doing it. The Pizza Hut gave it away. Sharamar, my girlfriend, took my money. And the bank's like, oh, so you know who did it. And I didn't know that. It cancels out the concept of identity theft. If you know who the person is, it's not identity theft. They call it a civil dispute, a civil matter.
I think everybody should know this.
So so just so you know, if you want to get fast, easy money, rip off your girlfriend or your boyfriend, and you can't get in trouble. You can take their card information, blow it on anything you want. Just get out of there then. You will not be held liable because you knew them. You could steal people's money if you know them. It's not, they don't have a name for it yet. It's called thievery, but no, it's not. You know them. Yeah. So the bank said, oh, well, that's a civil, no, the bank said, no, that sounds like a police matter. And the police said, oh, that sounds like a bank matter. And I'm like, what am I supposed to do? I remember going to the bank and like looking at all these transactions that weren't me and then like tallying up how many times she took money within a 10-month increment. And she ended up taking $5,985.
Jeez.
And this nice bank teller, like I would go there 2-3 times throughout the month. And I'd be like tallying it up, and she'd tell me that some of the ones I can contest were, what are these cards? Like a payment card.
Prepaid.
Prepaid cards is a name for it. I can't remember.
Google Play cards.
I don't know. I could contest that, and it would turn out to be like the tune of like 1,500 that she got on these little play cards that my name can't remember right now. But it's like a
Visa.
Yeah, like a prepaid Visa, something like that. I don't remember. I'll think of the name later when it matters.
The Domino's gift card.
Yeah, no, it's Pizza Hut.
Pizza Hut.
Today's 4th episode of Nate Marks is sponsored by Pizza Hut and identity theft.
Yeah, Pizza Hut.
So I remember crying to the bank teller, and she put it all together for me, like, on how to package my story so that I get some money back. Like, she's leading the witness, And I got some of my money back, and then I finally went to the Honorable Nancy Gonzalez, who was above the video store that I worked, and she was like the district, like local Judge Judy type civil court judge. And go figure, Sharamar's mom used to cut her hair, her chummy from Southside. So I felt like, isn't that kind of like against the rules? You know, isn't there some sort of nepotism clause where if you know the person or you cut their hair, you shouldn't be in like a judgment position, you know? Well, she cut my hair, you know? Let it slide, I look great, you know? Anyways, so Sharamar went to this thing and I was told not to go. I was like, what do you mean not to go? Like, I already had proof. She's just there to say that she did this or to contest it, that she didn't do it. And she signed and confessed. She said, yes, I stole $5,900. And that was it. And so a couple days go by. I was like, I remember when she went to the courthouse, I'm like pacing out in front like a madman, you know, like a stalker, you know, like, you know, just like chain smoking 10 in the morning. I was trying to think whoever shot John Lennon, like that guy, you know, like you know, David Chapman or something like that. I'm just like pacing back and forth, like I'm gonna see her. She's gonna be out here soon. What's going on in there, you know? Well, you know, and she walks out. I'm like, hey, how'd it go? She goes, by the way, Sharamar is like a lot like Spanish Daria, the '90s cartoon. She's like a really pretty girl. I'm attracted to like ethnic librarians, if you will, like racially ambiguous, smart-looking girls with glasses that have like a monotone voice. And like Daria was like, what? I said I didn't. Okay. Like, could care less. Like $6,000. Big deal. Peace. You know, like just like, you know, part of that charm was part of the hideousness too, you know. But so she walked away, and then I was like, wow, that's awesome. I'm gonna get my money back. You know, you think that's the idea. So I go to the courthouse a couple days later, and I said, hey, I was the plaintiff. I brought my ex here. She did the identity theft. How does the payment plan start? How does that work? And they're like, oh, we're not a collection agency. That's between you and the defendant. I said, you mean that I got my money stolen and it's up to me to go to her house and get it back? You don't think that's like a potential dangerous thing going on? An enraged ex-boyfriend got money stolen? Like, I'm supposed to go to her house? You don't think that's like a setup? That's not entrapment? What am I going to say to her? I want my fucking money, you know? How do you say that casually? If you don't mind, could you mind, like, paying back the $5,000 it took after me illegally? You know? Like, what am I supposed to say? And I realized that, and I fucking, my heart, like, what is this farce we call justice? That's a farce. That's a maniacal farce. An illusion. I gave the Honorable Nancy Judge Gonzalez $110 to have that courtroom appointment with Sharamar. And basically, they said it's up to me to get my money back. Well, what was the point of this judging? What was the point of being judged? The bank teller could confirm, and the Pizza Hut delivery guy could confirm. Yeah, it was not me buying this stuff, you know? So, what do you know? I get so mad that I got gasoline, and I went to her porch, and I sat on her porch with gasoline. And I was going to light the house on fire in myself and basically, like, burn up in the rat nest, you know? And meanwhile, I'm calling my friends, like, I fucking love you, man! I don't think I should do this, but I should. I gotta do it. I gotta do it for the team, you know? I don't think I'm not supposed to be here. I failed tragically and all my money's gone. And,
my $6,000.
And a great friend, Joey Shelley, who I really respect, if you guys get out there, Joey Shelley, he sent somebody, because he was at work, he sent somebody that I don't really know that well, to go find me, locate me, and get me out of there, and they got me drinks and took me to like a DJ concert, you know, and really took my mind off stuff. Like, that was a true friend. Like, if you were ever sitting on an ex's porch ready to burn you and the house down, a friend should intervene, you know, call me old-fashioned. But I was so glad, because I called all these friends, and people were like, dude, I'm at work. You know? You know?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Just don't burn yourself in the house down, okay? I'll talk to you later. You know? Maybe through a seance. Maybe through a Ouija board. Maybe I'll just talk to your headstone. Maybe I'll clip out your obituary, you know? But I'll talk to you later, you know? So
I'll put it on the fridge for 6 weeks.
Nate, I'm sorry. I told you not to burn. You know? So that was one thing. And then my landlady, she has so many properties, and the house right next to us, there was a bunch of these nasty meth heads. And the house was like frozen. The pipes burst, and the house was frozen because they didn't pay for heat or electricity. So there's like old colonial settlers by candlelight, playing on their phones, really cold by candlelight, just hanging out in this dark, frozen house in the winter. And the meth heads moved out, and I helped my landlady clean up the house, and I was going through the house and checking it out. And what do you know? In the house, there's a terrarium with a coiled up, frozen carcass of a snake, a python. It was a giant python. I didn't stretch it out to measure it, but it was a giant frozen snake. And I put it in a Ziploc baggie, and I kept it in my freezer for 2 years, and you saw it. And I always had this idea that one day I'm going to get drunk or be motivated enough to go downtown and throw it through her window. Because I'm not a violent guy, and I'm not vindictive by any means, but my heart was broken, and all my money was gone. And then on top of that, basically the cops mocked me, and the judge mocks me, The cop even said, I don't know what you expect, man. It's 5 points, And the cop said, I think it's 5 points. I don't know if you saw the movie Chinatown with Jack Nicholson, but that's a line one of those cop says, what are you going to do? It's Chinatown. What are you going to do, Jack? It's good.
It's 5 points.
Yeah. What do you mean, what am I going to do? No, I didn't have a sworn oath and a badge and a gun and a cop car and a fucking walkie-talkie. What are you going to do? Yeah, what am I going to do? I'm going to call you and tell you about the crime. And then you're supposed to do something. That's what I'm going to do. What are you going to do? Oh, you're going to brush it off as a racial stereotype, pat me on the back, and walk away. Okay. Thanks for the reassurance.
Yeah.
Blue Lives Matter, by the way. I just wanted to throw that out there. I've been plugging this.
That's our lighting
Bagpipes
scheme.
Matter. Bagpipes.
That's our lighting scheme.
Yeah, this is it. Yeah. Oh, man. I'm having enough trouble. Anyways, I kept the snake in my freezer for a while, and I never threw it through a window. And one day I said to myself in a cathartic clarity, I said, you know what? I don't need this dead snake in my freezer.
Wait. I don't think you explained why you have the dead snake.
Oh, I was going to get motivated one night and walk down there and hawk it through their window. And I imagine, they're sitting there watching TV, all government-paid warmth and electricity in their house. They're just hanging out, unemployed, chilling, watching TV, and then window breaks. And that's whoa, wow, that's really sensational. And then when they see what it is, it's a frozen snake. That's whoa, not like the window broke. It's whoa, there's a snake in my, That's why I just thought it'd be a two bird, one stone kind of toss. The window thing's one thing, but there's a frozen snake in your living room. You're going to have to pick it up with a broom or something.
Put it back in your fridge for 2 years.
Yeah. I mean, also, I've never experienced those emotions. You know what I mean? I think I handled it well. I didn't burn myself down. I didn't throw a snake through the window. I was literally in love. I loved that girl. I really did.
Yeah.
So, you could say you love someone, you busted a nut inside them, or you introduced them to your parents, or you let them put a finger in your butt. There's all kinds of variations of love, but then there's holding onto a frozen snake for 2 years in your freezer because he stole your money and ran away. That's not just about the money. That was my heart, A part of my heart was frozen and next to a dead snake. That was about the love. I really did love that woman. And I have a great song about her named Ladrona, which is Spanish for thief.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's an intense story.
But it's been a while, and I don't know. I think God throws a couple loves at you in your whole existence, and you either you find a way, or you fuck it up, or you missed your chance. Mm-hmm. I was supposed to get something out of that experience, maybe. I don't know. I don't want to be jaded, but it happens. I'm a little callous, so I'm a little apprehensive when meeting people because the truth is I don't. I'm not sorry that it's taking a cynical turn.
No.
Being rich. I'm well aware millionaires exist. Not everyone's going to find it. So when everybody thinks oh, I just find love. Not everyone's going to find love. You settled or you faked it, or an arranged marriage, you develop a love or a mutual respect or something. But no, not everybody finds love. Mm-hmm. Love is not something that is everywhere, and it's not for everyone. And not everyone deserves it.
Yeah.
You have to work for it. It's two people to make it work. There's unrequited loves that you love someone and they didn't love you back, or you love someone and they already got married. Like a Brokeback Mountain scenario. There's all kinds of loves that just and an unrequited love is the most sincere love because it's a love that they can never take away because it's you did all the work and it's in your heart and you'll always carry it. So, for instance, I was thinking about that movie Titanic. Let's leave it at that. I always think about that movie Titanic. No matter, you say potatoes, I say Titanic. You say tomatoes, I say Titanic. I'm always thinking about.
Okay.
With Titanic, for instance, the character Rose was floating on some piece of wood or some ice or whatever, and Leonardo DiCaprio freezes to death. And she blows the whistle and lives her life, right? Mm-hmm. She went on to get married and have kids and have grandkids and have this whole life ahead of her. She reproduced and lived with the man that probably supported her into his old age when he died. And then when she dies at the end, she goes back to Leonardo DiCaprio. Like, that fucking guy didn't matter at all. The guy that bought her a house and gave her children and helped raise them and loved her and fucking put up with her, and she was an old, unattractive lady. Like, that's the guy you should be fucking going to see in your dead, in your dream, your dead dream. Not Leonardo DiCaprio. He got you in your prime when you were just some sort of, like, spoiled rich girl runaway wife, on a doomed boat. Leonardo DiCaprio is the one that gets you at the end. And what happened to the guy that helped you change your diapers? That, helped you, raise these kids, Where's that guy? Oh, no, he's not Leonardo. He was never a Leonardo. That was just a guy that I met when I got back to land. Leonardo was one of those iceberg things, My husband was just the tip of the iceberg. Leonardo was, I don't know. I thought I had a pun in the making. Good. Yeah, it was kind of weak. I just wanted to pitch lettuce. I get sponsored by Iceberg Lettuce, so that's why.
But it's a thing I noticed with you interacting and having been your friend for probably 10 years now. Once you get past the surface, there's a lot of real emotions that I think some people could misinterpret pretty easily.
People shouldn't judge people in the first place.
No,
if you don't
absolutely.
know anybody, you shouldn't assess an idea.
Absolutely, and I think that's and there's reasons why you don't want to share those your true feelings and your actual true who you are right away. You're an entertainer, and you're that way because of your experiences, and you also use that entertainment quality to kind of hide yourself, but it's not necessarily a bad thing or anything like that. It's just,
I should have joined an emo band, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Runny mascara, tight jeans, sad songs. That would have probably been better for me.
Absolutely.
37-year-olds in tight jeans and runny mascara is what the girls are going for these days. I know because I just did a survey upstairs.
Isn't there an emo band that's playing soon or something like that, or they're getting back together? So there's a lot of emo.
My Chemical Romance.
Yeah. And
big fan. Big fan. I mean, honestly, I was not that generation. I remember growing up and I was in my 20s and that stuff was popular. But I guess it's a time and place for. Moby suburban white kids. That's the music of their voice. You know what I mean?
The music of
the music of Mom and Dad don't get me. I don't know. Time and a place. Musically they're great. Honestly, I've listened to it to know what some of the songs are, and it's not for me one bit.
Yeah.
But what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna knock the fact that they shred on guitar and play awesome drums. It's easy for me to respect the craft at least.
Yeah, I like all kinds of music too.
Yeah. But that's funny you mentioned it because he did get a little chubby, and that's the reality about what entertainment is. Well, it was I don't know how long ago the band broke up, but he's a human. You know what I mean? You can't be an anorexic little twink wearing jeans and dancing for teenage girls.
40 years old.
You become you grow into your body, and that's one of the things about I guess pop music versus other music. People have this idea of all these 60s ideals. If Jim Morrison were alive, put a shirt on, I don't want to hear your bad poetry to your shirtless, floppiness, It's the killer awoke before dawn. Put your shirt on, that's an idea. These people, they died in their prime. They never got a chance to get cheesy. You know what I mean? Bob Dylan made 19 albums that no one knows about, because he just fucking didn't care. He was a cokehead, just spaced out and writing his own legend for, I don't know, 80s to mid 90s. I'm not even a Bob Dylan fan, but I'm just saying people were cranking stuff out. There's some really cheesy Grateful Dead albums in the 80s too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just
It's a common thing, yeah.
this is what age plus 80s plus Coke equals cheese. It's like some rock and roll formula, you know. Like, but people got to realize, like, you're human, and it's like you're creating a product, and unless you can adapt to your surroundings, like some musicians can, you're really just your own reputation being recycled once again, you know. Sometimes, maybe that's why I like genre defiance, for instance. Like Frank Zappa, he aged well. David Bowie, he aged well, but he did get cheesy at times. But David Bowie could reinvent his image with the style or music. And those are just like examples I could, you know, give you.
Run off your top of your head. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's keep going with that.
Tiny Tim. Tiny Tim.
Emo Phillips.
Yeah. Emo Phillips, yeah, well, they look alike.
That's the connection I made.
Yeah. No,
Emo Phillips aged well.
I guess I don't think anybody out there in Robot World knows who Emo Phillips is.
No.
Other than, like, if you saw UHF.
No, I mean just never mind.
Okay. Oh, yeah, because he's emo. Are you connected to the Emo Phillips thing?
No.
He's the original emo.
I think he looks better now that he's older. Isn't that funny how some people look worse younger?
Yeah.
And then he looks...
He was like a hawk-nosed, effeminate gremlin.
All right.
I mean, it was almost like a tough sell. I think that's why he had to be a little cocky in his deliveries.
Yeah.
Call me Mr. Butterfingers.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if you saw UHF. I think it's on. It's not funny to anyone unless he's seen. He lost his finger to a saw blade in the Weird Al movie. You know what I'm talking about?
No, I didn't see that one. It's on my list. It's on my...
Oh my God, UHF is imperative.
Yeah.
Top 12th favorite movie.
It's on there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Me and you watch a lot of movies. We do.
I know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We have an incredible long list.
We made
of
2
movies.
short movies together.
Yeah, and Don Volman's in one of them.
Don Volman is in one of them, and both were filmed at parts were filmed at the video store.
Mm-hmm.
The first movie was called The Human Unicorn, about being the last existing video store clerk. And
that movie shut it down.
No, had they
movie actually killed
oh no, it was
the business.
No, it was an accurate prediction. It was so slow, and it was sad to see it go. Very much adult movies were the bread and butter that kept it going for years, and that's why video store I worked at
bread and butter.
The bread and butter. You ever hear porn called the bread and butter? It was the pickles and taco shells of the entertainment industry.
It was the buns and dogs. Ugh.
Yeah. Yeah. I saw like the paranormal stuff. I could talk about that. My first album is a celebration
the Sloth and Orb.
Sloth and Orb. Yeah, it's called Hex and Dance. But I kid you not, I saw a Bigfoot type creature when I was about 7 or 8, maybe like 8 probably, and whatever you would call it, it was a cryptid hominoid type creature, you know, a hairy, lanky, weird creature that did not look indigenous to Pennsylvania whatsoever.
I see a lot of those every day in Pennsylvania.
Zip up your fly.
I think I saw one this morning.
What are you talking about? Like squirrels?
I don't know.
No,
just what you described. A lanky, hominoid, hairy.
Yeah.
I see that.
They're everywhere.
Yeah, if you go to Walmart real late at night, you see them too.
All right, they do come out. I mean, Walmart is a bit of a carnival. Yeah.
You can also see them at thrift stores sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
At the flea markets.
Oh, yeah.
Redner's flea market. I've seen many of them.
Mm-hmm.
They actually, some of them open up stands and they sell knives. And like a little dragon, like Chinese dragon statues.
Yeah. That's where you found Susie.
I found Susie at a Christmas party.
That's right. She was in our hot dog movie.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That was right around the time when I met her.
It sure was.
Yeah, I had to impress her. I'm a filmmaker.
Yeah.
I'm a real director.
They say it's an old Chinese proverb that it's, I don't know how to say it in Mandarin fluently yet, but it is good luck to meet one's wife during a hot dog movie.
That's something that's...
I saw that in a fortune cookie.
That is a Chinese proverb.
Oddly specific.
Confucius did write that.
Yeah.
Um,
Confusion wrote that.
So, more about your lanky hominoid story.
Oh, I saw a Bigfoot, and then I saw a ghost, or an orb that came out of the ground and expanded and contracted, and chased me and my friend Tom Folds out of Lockridge Park in Albertus. And then I saw a UFO in the Everglades, also with Tom Folds. And I've always had the same friends that saw the same things. A friend of mine, Mike Yerger, he also saw he coined the term giant ground sloth. But he saw the hairy type thing in Albertus too.
We're going to have to do an investigation on this.
Oh, well, I mean, my first album called Hex and Dance is the Pennsylvania Dutch word for crop circle, but it literally translates to witches dance, Hex and Dance, and I use that as an example of proving that phenomenon is real and universal. Like, why do the PA Dutch, or the Germans, have a word for crop circle? Like, you think that's a Discovery Channel thing, or an M. Night Shyamalama Ding Dong movie, you know what I mean? Like, people forget that crop circles, no, the PA Dutch had a word for it 300 years ago. And they didn't think it was a UFO. They thought it was a witch dancing in a circle and creating patterns on their corn. That's why I called the album Hex and Dance, and on the cover of the album is a picture of a giant ground sloth hanging out with an orb. And I wanted to do an album that was a celebration of Pennsylvania paranormal phenomenon and Pennsylvania Dutch superstitions and mysticism. And it was my first album. It was my more serious effort. It came out in 2006. There's about 12 songs on it. You can find it on YouTube, but it's a great album. It was the first start. I didn't know what I was doing, and maybe I was trying to sound like deeper than what my capabilities were. But half the album's instrumental, and a lot of the instruments are homemade. I was inspired by the music of Harry Partch, and he's a guy that reinvented music by making his own instruments and his own sort of microtonal scales, notes between notes, and he basically made music out of salvaged bells, gongs, giant jugs, like a 10-foot tall bamboo, like the lowest note of a bamboo note in a marimba, like just giant percussive music, and it sounds so, it's hard to describe, but it's like the music makes sense in its own inherent musical setting, but most people think it doesn't make sense. You can't like jam with another instrument.
It's intense.
It is. It's very intense.
It's really interesting. Yeah.
So I made.
You layer a lot of different instruments together,
and I played
and
with.
they all come
I
out.
played with like drills, springs, buckets of water, and I made this album. And to me, it, like looking back, it reminds me of in the movie Dewey Cox, when Dewey Cox takes acid and he's like Brian Wilson, like trying to record a goat, and he has like a 30 didgeridoo players like hanging out naked, and it's like almost like I was like in that's an exaggeration, but I really thought that for some reason I would be one time hailed as a musical genius, or this music would be so important and nothing like it's been done, and that's the fun of believing in yourself when you still have dreams. But I made this music thinking that someday this is so absurd and so new and innovative that people are going to be forced to recognize it as unprecedented, original, true art music. And I've come to find out that a lot of my musical heroes are just kind of people that I only know about, you know, or they're bigger in Japan or they're bigger in Germany, you know.
Yeah.
Like we talked about pigeonholing. It's hard to get people to like to give a chance to something new and unusual, you know, when everything like the word saturated, there's so much data being, you know, thrown at them every day that's hard to really focus and listen to albums. Even just like a record from A to B, most people don't even like sit down and buckle up for a ride. Like they listen to songs or they listen to it on their phone. Like I hate that. Hey Nate, you do a new song? Yeah. Oh no, you listen to my phone. Like don't listen to it on a phone. How about that? Like I'm gonna listen to you want a calculator.
You cut out most of the song.
Yeah, sure.
If you
the
think
depth,
about
the bass,
it, the frequency band on the phone, it's like this big.
Yeah.
You just cut out really most of the whole experience.
I mean, it works for like maybe like a stand-up set or something like that, but you really shouldn't enjoy music on a little tiny robot. You really should be like, and you should be enjoying it, like really treating it like a movie for your ears.
Yeah.
You know, like I don't like music. I mean, music can be in the background. I'll put on some music in the background, but sometimes it's like buckle up and sit in and like soak in the music, and that's a really neat thing for me. And I think that it might be a lost appreciated art, and I think that the attention spans are getting reduced to less and less because of how like social media and stimuli work. People don't really focus on things like they should, and a lot of I don't know, movies or things like are kind of designed like that. Like if you're a little kid and all the movies you saw are just superhero for 2.5 hours, shit blowing up in your face, shit blowing up in your fucking face, like, and then you tell them like, oh, The Godfather is a masterpiece. How many people that grew up, you know, in post 2000s are gonna really enjoy The Godfather? Nothing's blowing up in your face, and then there's like, you know, a few shots here and there, but
I think it might be that, but I also, personally, I think it has to do with the communication that we have on our phones. And you see people and they just don't ever get off their phone.
yeah, it's sad.
It just, you're hanging out with them and they're not even there while you're talking to them. And I think that just sitting down to listen to an album, they sit there for about a minute and then they're like, oh, I could talk. I need to talk to somebody. I need to communicate. I need to connect. I need to get that. It's a dopamine rush when it's
It's a stimulant.
A cute girl that I know just texted me back. Oh wow, you know.
Or liked your picture of your sandwich.
Yeah,
and then I'm a victim of it too.
And then she's like, oh, check out my Instagram. And then you're on your Instagram, and then you're like, oh, look at that. Oh, somebody liked my sandwich picture. Oh, Oh wait, was I listening to an album?
Yeah,
it's already gone over.
Yeah,
you know, it's just like, I think that's the biggest fault to listening to long spans of time, because people freak out if you tell them put your phone away.
Right.
You know, they're like, what? I'm an important person. I gotta listen to this. I gotta be on call.
Yeah.
You know, they can't. So their whole mindset is always communicating through this thing, and it's not about. There was no times where they're. It's just them
enjoying the moment. Yeah.
Yeah, where they can live just as them.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know. I definitely, you know. I see it and I hate it. You know,
I'm sure like the Picassos and Harry Partches of the world are.
I love phones and I love using it, but I also
love toaster ovens. I like using them too.
Yeah.
But I don't eat toast all the time.
Yeah,
you know,
like let me go listen to an album. Oh wait, let me make some toast.
Yeah,
but there's a point where you have to realize that you get more enjoyment from listening to an album and or reading a book or watching a movie completely through with your full attention.
Yeah, sure.
You get more in the end. It's
a framed work of art. You should appreciate it as a framed work of art within that.
But also you get more later in life. Like sometimes you might see something or listen to something, it might not hit you right away. It might hit you like 10 years down the road, like a bunch of fucking bricks.
I thought you were gonna say bananas for a second.
Like a bunch of fucking bananas.
Oh man, been there.
But
reminds me of some of my frat boy days.
But yeah,
I meant dicks.
Yeah, I meant dicks.
How's episode 4 going?
It's good.
Is it going? Are we still? I don't know. Do you think people are still like in, or do you think they're fast forwarding?
No, I think they're still. I think they're asleep right now.
I don't know.
A lot of people listen to this when they're falling asleep.
The meditative sounds of white men talking in a cellar.
That's what this.
That's
is.
actually a nature tape I bought at the Q-Mart. I put it in, and
Q-Mart.
It was us.
There's a lot of sloths, humanoid sloths there. Q-Mart.
There is.
I haven't been to Q. I want to take Susie to Q-Mart.
Oh, she'd love it. A lot of Chinese people there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She'd be like, oh,
I got a good deal on one. Yeah.
Mail order.
Female order.
Female order.
Female orders me around. No, great food, good stuff. I like that place a lot.
Yeah.
I love flea markets. Something very nostalgic, hip. It's always like there's like a free freak show. You know what I mean? Every time you see a dwarf, it's like you always see one dwarf there or a guy with an underdeveloped arm. Like I don't know where they're coming from, but it's like always guaranteed. You know?
Yeah. And they always smell like whenever I smell a place like that, I always think that's what the 70s smelled like.
Yeah, like vinegar was still used on French fries frequently.
I don't know. There's just any flea market place like that. Mm-hmm. They always in my mind, I'm like, that's what the 70s must have smelled.
Sure, like part hay, part mold.
Yeah, part
diesel
fumes. Yeah, there's a lot of fumes, a lot of gas fumes, a lot of fried food. Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot like fries, and that's I have like a nostalgia.
What do you think 2020 smells like? Because I have 2020, like I know there's 2020 vision, but like 2020 smell.
It smells like microplastics. Microplastics, in the sushi. Fresh sushi, right? Gluten-free sushi.
Cage-free, free-range sushi.
Microplastics. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I don't think it has probably like essential oils, right? That's it.
Essential oils, yeah. I never had them, so they're not essential. That's what, like, the funny thing about essential oils. If you never had them, then you really never needed them.
Yeah, that's probably another 2020
That's a great marketing gimmick. You need this.
Yeah, it's essential.
Usually it's like heroin is the one thing you think you're going to like go suck a dick or kill someone if you don't get it, you know? Like, the fucking oils are essential! I goddamn need it! You know? I want to smell like cinnamon! You know? I don't know I have no idea what they are.
Citrus. Echinacea.
Echinacea. Oh, yeah, I heard of that. That's when all the countries were, like, still together, right?
No, that's Pangea.
Oh, Pangea, that smells good, too. I'm also president of the Sandwich Society at the Lehigh Valley. I just wanted to take a quick
What's your
second.
top 10 sandwich shops?
I thought you'd never ask, Mike. Thanks. Is it written on there? Let me make sure. I cannot emphasize enough how important Kava's Polish Deli in Bethlehem is. There's like a sandwich menu of 10 simple, non-gimmicky sandwiches. And the guy that runs the place, really cool, nice guy named Wojtek, he said that the cheese and the meats have like 4 ingredients. Like there's less preservatives, less fillers, and they're wonderful sandwiches. The Turple, the Dutch Rudder, the Siegen, which is the Romani gypsy word for Romani gypsy, which has Ukrainian gypsy ham. I don't even know what gypsy ham is. Gypsy ham is always trying to escape and always running around and panhandle while you're not looking. Like, I don't know, whatever gypsy ham means. I don't know what it means, you know? Like, I just take it for granted. Gypsy ham sounds great.
Gypsy ham, it was cooked in a... It was cooked in an RV.
Yeah, it was like a road sandwiches, road ham. But that is an awesome place, and that's really close. But I literally eat about 2 or 3 sandwiches a week from there.
Wow.
Considering I'm
what
like
are they open till?
They're open 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. and they're closed Sundays and Mondays. But that is some of the best sandwiches. I cannot emphasize enough, and it's also just price wise. I like the people there. Really good. They let you sample stuff, but they have really good Polish sodas, breads, chocolates, pickles, mustards. They have Russian mustard, Ukrainian mustard, sauerkrauts, smoked fishes. I really like that. So, I mean, for me, an important go guide for sandwiches is just like try a little bit of everything. And people forget how universal the sandwich is. Like I had a torta today, the Mexican sandwich.
Yeah.
From La Lupita. La Lupita is not my favorite sandwich, but it's $6 for a giant fucking sandwich.
Yeah.
It has beans, avocados, jalapeno, lettuce, tomato, mayonnaise, and ahuaca cheese. And I had the tinga, the spicy chicken.
That sounds good.
Or pollo picante, if you will. It was, and it's on like a Kaiser roll, and it's just a huge giant sandwich for $6. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You get a Big Mac for $6, and that's like recycled turds, recycled microwave turds made by the miserable. You know, they put love in this. That's another good one I really liked. But I'd also recommend a shawarma in Damascus, which is the Syrian restaurant in Allentown. If you get out there.
Ooh, oh, that sounds good too.
I like just pronouncing it. Like
Yeah.
I actually was.
You sound like you're cultured just talking about
shawarmas, tortas, gypsy ham.
it. Gypsy.
You name it, my pinky goes up. Yeah, I'm kind of a big deal in the sandwich community. I am the self-appointed president, by the way. I created the title for myself, but I'm trying to assemble a like-minded community of sandwich enthusiasts.
Wow.
We just talk sandwich.
Yeah.
You mentioned one thing that's not sandwich related. You're out! I don't want to hear your politics, your biography. I don't want to hear you recommend a French fry. Get out. Sandwiches only. Sandwich talk.
You go to Carl's?
Yeah, awesome. Love Carl's. It's a crime how many little parasitic ripoffs are just trying to float around and live under their shadows. Whiz Kids down the street is horrendous. That's an awful cheesesteak place.
I've never been there.
It's so cheesy. It's sort of like, I don't know, I've never seen Stranger Things, but it's like the South Park, I remember berries?
Yeah.
It's like, they have like E.T. and Goonies and corny 80s stuff on the wall and like Mario Brothers and stuff, so it's like, oh cool, all this gimmicky stuff from my childhood that I never even remembered because I was born in 2005. But I imagine that's what the Goonies and Mario and everything's like, and now I'm going to eat a cheesesteak for $12. You know, it's...
Yeah.
Go to hell. Carl's is awesome. That's right down the street, and it's been there for like 60 years, and that's a legit
It's
cheesesteak
great.
place.
I love that place.
Yeah.
And I think they have new owners, but the new owners, when you order a large now, you get so much meat. It is.
Oh, wow.
It is.
You know why that is?
Great.
The new owners killed, cut up, and cooked the previous owners to sort of like pass it on to the like, oh, you really like the old owners? Well, you're really going to love them now because they taste delicious. Yeah.
Secret sauce.
The secret sauce is one of a kind. Yeah, that's it. No, it's a good place, and they have good specials regularly. But Carl's is probably, as far as cheesesteaks go, my second favorite. My favorite is, favorite to eat in is Carl's, but Rascal's, which you would never guess, is off MacArthur Road, and that's in front of the Drees. Is it Drees? Lots? Big Lots? No, what is the hardware store on MacArthur Road around the mall?
Oh.
I don't fix things, so I don't know what goes on inside.
I don't know.
know.
MacArthur Road. I'm trying to think.
Home Depot. In front of the Home Depot. So there's like unsuspecting like trailer that has no places to sit. So you get these cheesesteaks, and they have like 50 cheesesteaks. Literally a Turkish cheesesteak, a Greek cheesesteak, a Mexican cheesesteak, a Cajun cheesesteak. All these gimmicky-ass cheesesteaks. They put all kinds of stuff on it, and they're great, and the people are nice. But you have nowhere to eat with it. So you actually like flip over a shopping cart and eat it on the shopping cart. You know what I mean? Like a fucking savage.
You sit on one of their lawnmowers that they're out.
Yeah, I've done it. I've straddled a lawnmower. I'll sit on lumber. I'll even like sneak it in and like try to eat it in the bathtub, pull the shower curtain, or in like the bathtub aisle of Home Depot. But as far as aesthetics go, it's like it's so good. They don't even need you to have a fun, safe place to eat. Like you just like get your food and eat it like a fiend on top of a appliance or something.
Yeah, I kind of like places that aren't too fancy looking, that don't spend their money, that you're not paying for their atmosphere too much. I just want good food at a good price, and I'm totally cool with sacrificing the look, or the how much money you put in for, I don't know, some fancy lighting or something. Do you like pho?
Love it.
Yeah,
Pho Bowl on Union is great.
That's what I was just gonna say. Not only is the food great, but they always play music videos from Vietnam and other Asian countries, but mostly Vietnam. And it's
the
great.
owners are Vietnamese and Lao.
They're like pretty close to each other.
Sure.
But it's I just find that so entertaining.
Yeah.
To just sit there and you see all these, and he shared with me the mix, like what he has on a YouTube playlist. Yeah.
That's a great job to be able to DJ for people.
Yeah. He put it all together. The guy shared it, and I was looking through one of the videos, and there's Snoop Dogg.
Oh, that's where you found it.
Yeah, that's exactly. Yes, the Snoop Dogg, and he's like, just for people out there who haven't seen this, is Snoop Dogg is making music videos with Vietnamese, and it really just seems like a prostitution front. That's what I think.
Oh, please elaborate.
Yeah,
I was pretty fascinated by your theory on that.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just they're just too. I don't know. Just something seems wrong about it. It seems like. It just there's no. It seems like they could have put more substance if they would have had a Snoop Dogg and his budget.
Yeah.
And what the hell is Snoop Dogg doing in Vietnam?
It was probably the royal family, like a birthday gift. Like,
yeah.
I'll make you a music video. What kind of American celebrity you want? Snoop
Exactly.
Dogg.
Yeah.
Snoop Dogg's like, yeah, fly me there, fly me back. I'm good, So.
Yeah, I don't know. It feels like it's some of those music videos are. So a lot of them are great, but whenever I see.
You're probably absolutely right. Almost like I said, the mainstream.
Too many
everything.
like hot women. Just when I see it, the whole thing is the rapper or the guy singing Snoop Dogg, and then a lot of hot women that are just naked. I just like I don't know. I feel like that's how they're selling them.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that.
Which
which one do you want?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you want the blonde one at 3 minutes and 30 seconds? All right, you got it. Mm-hmm. That'll be $50,000 for the night.
Yeah.
Or the week or whatever I don't know. I don't know how much they cost. But
speaking of the devil, I asked Snoop Dogg to be in our upcoming video, and we couldn't agree on a price. My budget was like $40, and he doesn't even know me or respect me.
Well, he's Snoop Dogg. You do whatever he wants, right?
Well, $40 is $40. That's all I'm saying. He doesn't need it, but hey, he only got a taste of my talent. But he's still doing it. He's still doing it. Yeah, it's funny how a lot of these people are like so user friendly. Like you see Snoop Dogg and Martha Stewart hanging out. It's like, what happened to the world? Like the guy was arrested. He went to court for murder. And he's like in the Sesame Street doing corny commercials. You know what I mean? It's like,
was he in Sesame Street?
Yeah, he was in Sesame Street. Blazed out of his mind talking to Elmo. Like that's not a good thing for kids. Like home old fashioned. I don't think kids should be celebrating smoking weed. Yeah,
I don't.
But they're like so user friendly. People are so like conditioned to like it's so user friendly. Some of the stuff that got you banned or scandalous is now just like selling juice boxes in Disney. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just so corny. Everything is.
It's like the whole history of reality is a joke for nostalgia.
Yeah.
Remember, Martha Stewart went to jail. Snoop Dogg went to jail.
Oh, maybe that is the connection. Maybe they're both like gangster as shit, and that's why they're hanging out.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about Martha Stewart's whole controversy.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess everybody deserves a second chance, but...
No! No!
Not Jeff Epstein.
Well, I don't think he got one. Well,
I mean,
he did.
Harvey
They
Weinstein.
did give him...
Harvey Weinstein.
Yeah, so Jeff Epstein did get a second chance. He got arrested and they let him go because
I didn't mean to say Jeff Epstein.
They got the wrong Steen. I'll tell you what. I'm gonna give you some because now I'm getting my little buzz on, and people might find out how down the rabbit hole I am. But I'm gonna explain the Harvey Weinstein thing. Explain it. Hollywood is a farce and a front, and how he was talking about how there's like maybe some music videos are just vehicles for like high class, like A+ like prostitutes.
Yeah.
Like they're just kind of showcasing and having an auction block of prostitutes.
Super tier prostitutes.
Hollywood is a front and a farce. And I know that somebody like Corey Feldman is like, ripping off people making a documentary about it, and other people come forward. But the Harvey Weinstein Me Too scandal was a scapegoat. I'm a movie fan. I love movies like no one's business. And I got the book called Down and Dirty Pictures, the Weinstein Brothers biography, and it was written in like 1999. And it talked about 21 years ago, the type of abusive, bullying, chauvinistic behavior from the Weinstein brothers. 21 years ago, they knew about it. Weinstein and Miramax, the movies like Pulp Fiction or The Pianist or, Shakespeare in Love, all these movies, and by the way, all these movies that won Best Pictures, got nominations, did it because they had to fuck Harvey Weinstein. It was like a passage. Like, do this, and you get on stage, and you get a nomination or whatever. Miramax was delivering the goods, making box office millions from indie movies, and did a lot for the movie business. I did like Pulp Fiction. I did like The Pianist and The Piano and all that. Miramax wasn't bringing home the bacon anymore. They were making movies, but they weren't bringing home. Tarantino still made movies, but they weren't bringing money. Star Wars, Disney, remake after remake, all these reboots, remakes, knockoffs, prequels, and sequels were making all the money while Weinstein was still out there doing what he was doing for 30 years, raping these actresses. He no longer had clout. They threw him under the bus because he no longer brought money to the box office, and they could afford to expend him and to throw him out like a scapegoat. And then they patted themselves on the back for this Me Too movement, but the same movement they were celebrating and having hush-hush about since the beginning of time, since Shirley Temple. Shirley Temple was abused as a child. All this stuff is a front for pedophiles. Hollywood is so dirty, and Harvey Weinstein's not only a scapegoat because they no longer needed him to bring money to the box office. He was a front for all the pedophiles out there. James Gunn, Bryan Singer, the guy who did the Powder movie, or what the heck is it called? Jeepers Creepers. He got busted a couple times. Kevin Spacey. I do believe Steven Spielberg's a pedophile. I think that little girl in Poltergeist, she died from internal hemorrhaging from sexual abuse. And this is stuff that you don't talk about, but it's the same people. It's the same people, and I think all these Hollywood movies are just a front for pedophiles. So much of these movies, how do you make $100 million movies, $50 million movies that only bring $2 million all the time consistently? And I know that from the video store we see a map of all the movies that make all this money, and then how little that they actually brought to the box office. How do they keep surviving? If I was losing $80 million on every movie I made, I'd probably get a new job, or they'd fire me, or somebody would kill me, you know? It's because it's a front. They're making money elsewhere. They're making money, and they're pimping off all these children, and it's a big culture. And I believe, I'm going to sound a little crazy here, it's Luciferian in nature because it's not just for pleasure. I think it's also business and ritual magic. That sounds heavy, and I know I sound crazy, but it's business and ritual magic.
Warning.
It's not just pleasure. It's not just a bunch of power-hungry perverts. It's also Luciferian ritual magic that is rooted in something so much deeper and darker that the average person can't even begin to comprehend because nobody wants to, and it's scary. But Harvey Weinstein was thrown under the bus because he didn't bring any money, and he was a front for all the pedophiles out there. Because all this pedophile stuff is coming out. And with the advent of the internet, people can now freely talk about it and find out more. And you can click Poltergeist Girl. If you watch Poltergeist the movie, you don't know what happened to the little girl, but you can look it up and find out about it. Now, why would Steven Spielberg be hanging out with these kids? Why are people doing this and that? And not to say they aren't great movies, but I'm saying a lot of these people that make great movies are also just perverts. They're just very talented perverts. And the world has always had talented perverts. There's always talented perverts, but people have to start associating the art with the artist. In some instances, it's too hard to do, but I really believe that movies are fronts. Hollywood is an empire of like children getting auctioned off under the guise of entertainment. Professional sports are rigged. I think there's also
absolutely.
I think there's so much going on in the industry, and people don't want to talk about it. But I think that's why.
I mean, there's a bunch of stuff coming out about basketball games that were rigged, and it's all. I think it's all rigged. They're all millionaires. Everybody on the field and.
What is going on? I swear, that hamster wheel is going to town. I'm gonna generate more electricity. I just want to say too. I'm sorry to take your episode 4 into such a dark level, but I'm getting my buzz on.
Anybody lasting this long?
I was just talking about how long have we been on for?
I think it's been a while.
Well,
probably over 2 hours.
Well, hey, I can still go on. I think it's important. Like, I just wanted to air that out. And there's some things I'm just not going to talk about on your show, unless it's like by popular demand. If you can guess in the comment sections below what conspiracies I believe in.
Free iPhone giveaway. If you guess, Nate.
And yes, all you're going to see is psychedelic man-tits and a Reptile Dawn music video. And maybe I'll put some of our movies that we made in the comment section. But yeah, there's a lot of things out there I do like to talk about. But I feel very partial to basic human rights.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to like free Darfur in Tibet. It's like, no, how about just our own fucking kids in America, We'll just start there. Because this whole country is rooted in so much evil. It's so much evil.
Yeah. I mean, but I think you gotta, I think there's a level where bad stuff has happened. Like, history has been just about different groups conquering other groups and doing whatever they can.
Yeah.
Horrific acts of torture, and there hasn't nobody is has a clean past
Mm-hmm.
in terms of ancestral.
Mm-hmm.
On this planet. I mean, that's just life,
All right, go ahead. Eskimos.
right?
What do they do?
I mean,
Tell me who did the Eskimos fuck over? Penguins? Whales?
I have no clue.
No one. They're Eskimos. And, like, some people are no. And we're white. Like, I'm not gonna be sitting in a fucking podcast, two white people saying some
But how
people
do
did, you know.
Yeah, but how don't we know that there weren't people? There was a pre-Eskimo people, and then the
dare
Eskimos
you.
that we know now took over those people.
All right. First of all, you know more Eskimos than me. I just want to get that out of here. Because I'll even have close friends and like, yo, I'm like half Inuit and like, I'm out of it.
Out of it.
Yeah, I don't. Cold.
Yeah.
It's cold people.
I get it. I know. I'm just trying to have some counter
All right.
argument here.
Yes.
With,
all right. Like,
I don't know if it's definitely built
tribalism
completely.
and like conquering and survival and conquest, like that makes sense. I'm not going to condone what the Vikings were doing, but I'm saying they were going as barbaric, savage nomads conquering your land.
Yeah.
They weren't going as I made a children's movie. That's what I'm comparing it to.
Yeah.
They weren't pretending to be anything less than Vikings. I'm talking
Yeah.
about like elitist perverts
Yeah.
that get away with stuff. And I think the Vatican, Hollywood, and the White House, and all the politicians, they're all in bed with ritual magic and pedophilia. I guarantee it. I fucking guarantee it. Nobody wants to talk about it, but it's the damn truth. It's the damn truth. The Washington, D.C., from an aerial view, is an owl. It's a Moloch, the owl, the god of child sacrifice from the Hittites. It is an actual owl. The White House aerial view is an owl.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
You can look this up.
I know I have. You showed
The
me.
owl is also on your dollar bill. That owl is also on Jeff Epstein's temple, his mysterious, funny-looking gold-roofed temple on Little St. James Island. That's the same owl. That's Moloch, the god of the Hittites. Moloch, the god of the Hittites, the god of child sacrifice, is also a giant rock owl at Bohemian Grove where politicians would go in the summertime and get naked and have a ritual mock child sacrifice. Henry Kissinger was there, the guy that massacred all the Vietnamese, in the Vietnam War. Richard Nixon was there. Reagan's been there. I don't know. I'm going to say more Republican than Democrat, but they're both a two-headed snake. They're both evil. But a lot of them had been there, and Walter Cronkite was the voice of Moloch, the god of child sacrifice, was there. Like, they're all there. They're all a bunch of weird... It's like a private old man party. But what are you doing having a child mock sacrifice? What is that even about? What is this owl business? It's so crazy. It really is rooted into, like I said, ritual magic, which leads to power. There is such a thing as ritual magic. And the whole country is entrenched with this mystical, mysterious, not talked about thing that people want to call crazy. You sound crazy when you bring it up. It's a fact. It's a fact.
It's a fact, yeah.
It's a fact. I don't want the world to look like... I didn't want D.C. to look like an owl. I don't want an owl in my dollar bill. I don't want naked Republicans having a child mock sacrifice while Walter Cronkite talks about it. I don't think that's healthy. Call me old-fashioned. But I'll tell you this. That's all true. That much is all true. That much I can tell you. And that's all I'm going to get into for there.
All right.
But, yeah, that's just something I just wanted to get out there. But then again, you think that's something? Sylvester Stallone is making dolphin porn. That I'm not sure about. But
yeah.
I'd be willing to entertain the idea.
I mean, he's making Rambo movies.
I didn't see the new one, and I heard it was
I
sort
love
of...
the new one.
Is it good? Okay. Somebody
I mean-
told me it's like super Trump or super like Americana. I don't... People like hype stuff up. I don't know.
Well, he does massacre a whole lot of Mexicans in it.
Yeah, I don't like that kind of stuff. I don't like the this side good, that side bad kind of thing,
Yeah, but
I mean,
it's
it's Rambo.
Rocky. It's Rambo, yeah.
Yeah.
Rocky Rambo.
But the one that came out, I don't know, 2005, 2006,
This
that was
is the
awesome.
second time I talked. I talked about this with Joey DePatino.
But the new Rambo?
Yeah.
Usually called Rambo Talk. Rambo Talk in my basement, where we'll go through a whole bunch of topics so I can finally plug Rambo. And then Sylvester Stallone comes out from behind the curtain.
Yeah.
I was just walking around. I was walking with him.
My favorite Sylvester Stallone movie was
Rhinestone.
No, what's the one? Fuck. Death Race 2000.
Early.
Yeah, Machine Gun Joe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I
David
love
Carradine.
that movie. Yeah, David Carradine. It's Frankenstein.
I think it's a Paul Bartel movie. Have you ever seen Eating Raoul? Paul Bartel.
Mm-mm.
He's in it.
He made a new one.
Yeah, I watched it too. It came out maybe 6 years ago.
I loved
It's
it.
hysterical. Very funny. That movie's just a fresh idea.
Yeah, I like the shitty looking cars.
Mhm.
Like they want them to look cool, but they're just
Yeah.
like shit.
I would give that credit to whatever concept was later known as the Mad Max movies.
Yeah.
These Road Warriors. I know these
Yeah.
movies on the road.
Yeah.
Cannonball Run was a well done.
Did Hanna-Barbera, did those cartoons do that kind of concept?
I forget what it was
before?
called, but there was a thing, and that was in
Hanna-
the 70s. I think there was a parallel to it, but I would say Hanna-Barbera borrowed it, but I don't know.
You think they
I don't remember the
I
name
have
of
to
that.
look that up. Now you just made that connection.
I just vaguely remember that from the Family Channel. I'm revealing my age, but there used to be a channel where they played vintage cartoons that were
Yeah.
kooky.
Yeah,
that
they
was
would
one
have
of
they would have all the different cartoons
Oh, yeah.
and they'd all race each other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was a good
I
show.
wonder what came first, Death Race or Hanna-Barbera.
I think that's just rather than speculate, you just Google the shit out of that motherfucker.
Yeah.
Google
I could just
Google that shit in half.
Google shit. Tear that Google page up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well,
This is it.
yeah.
I like this. I brought this for sex appeal. My conversation's boring. So in summary,
Yeah.
March 7th, I will be talking about Moloch, the god of child sacrifice, and how Hollywood is a front, and other jokes. At the People's Kitchen, will be
Yes.
called the Comedy Kitchen, and the Comedy Kitchen is at Linden and North Street in North Bethlehem. For the viewers at home that might be vaguely aware of Bethlehem, it's in
Yeah.
North Bethlehem. It's at a very nice place.
What day of the week?
It is a Saturday night.
That's important.
So it's, you can get out early enough to go to the disco.
Yeah.
You could take your little disco nap and maybe have a go to the Golden Corral
Yeah.
and take a nap and then wake up and come over here and burn off carbs laughing, because it'll be Joey Tepedino, Kyle Neff, Mary Brooke, and myself. I'm the least enthusiastic to mention that, about myself. It's Nate Marks, whatever. But we're all opening up for Tony Viagra, who is the gangster of comedy. He's a living legend in my book, and I'm very glad that I got to get him out. I'm very, very glad. There's comedy going on in Easton. My friend Joseph Ferraro is also running some comedy stuff, and he's nice enough to include me once in a while, where I just was at the roast battle as one of the finalists,
Yep.
where Lakeisha Williams handed my ass over to me, brutally, but in a funny kind of
Yeah.
gentle way. It was fun. I was glad. I
was
think
a good time.
I think they could smell the fear. It was, to me, it reminded me of 8 Mile backwards. If you put an 8 Mile VHS and how it's backwards, I fucking was killing the whole beginning, and then at the end I'm I got nothing. You know what I mean? It was 8 Mile in reverse.
You gotta make fun of yourself first, so she can't. You gotta say, "Yeah, my hair's
Well,
messed
it's not
up."
the roast. It's the roast is you making fun of the other person.
I know.
I wasn't sure.
I'm making fun
I
of 8
went to-
Mile.
I-
Remember?
right.
That's how he won.
Yeah.
Because he's like, I'm white trash.
You're right. Yeah.
And he took all his power away to make fun of.
Yeah, right. And
his
Clarence's
appearance.
parents have a lovely marriage or something like that. I don't
Yeah,
remember how it
yeah.
was, but
You got to take all the power away
Mm-hmm.
at the beginning.
it was an experience. I'm glad I had it, and it was very much an honor because Lakeisha Williams is a great, gifted, up and coming comedian, and she's too cool for school because she didn't reply to me. But I wanted to play at this Comedy Kitchen thing. So
Yeah.
Lakeisha, if you're watching or listening, get back to me. I would love to have you on the show.
Somebody who
Hope
knows
we're still
Lakeisha.
friends, yeah. But that's one of the things I'm trying to do. I did a couple shows at the Soft Machine Gallery, and I'm going to put another one there. Soft Machine Gallery is in Allentown. It's a gallery in East Allentown, and the owners are very nice. I like them. They're very cool people,
Yeah.
and I'm going to put another show there. And I'm not sure exactly what I want to do. I want to actually start getting into more music and plugging music. Now, a comedy show, I could bring out 50 people. If I say Nate Marks is doing the so-called bullshit music of Nate Marks, literally 10 people. And I had to remind them that day of the show to come on out because people just don't want to see you rubbing dildos on your guitar and playing rubber chickens. I don't know why. I'd like to live in a world where that thing is a selling out stadiums. Personally, I would clone myself and sell out the stadiums myself. If I had the money and clone equipment and a stadium, I would clone myself and fill up the stadiums with myself because I'm my own biggest fan. But if you like unusual music and genre defiance, I have lots of music that I want to share with the world because it's the only sense of purpose I have. Some people have degrees or love interests or a family or like a job they like. I got hopes and dreams, and I'm going to fucking keep going until I die. You know? That's it. That's all I got. So, like it or not, I'm fucking Nate Marks, and I got music and comedy to share to the world. I ain't making babies. I ain't going to fucking chef school, and I'm not inventing shit. You know? I don't know what to tell you. I'm not lying. I ain't lying. That's all I got. Hopes and dreams. Come out and support them. God forbid. But I promise, like, if you have an okay time, I still, like, I'll give you fucking money back, because I deliver. If you don't have a good time, I deliver. I'll take you out back. I'll hit you with a sock full of nickels, but I'll give you the nickels when I'm done. And that's it. But also I have music I'd like to share with the group. So notice how I continually drink. I start like referring to this non-existent audience as like the group. You know. Yeah. Thanks for sharing. Hi, my name's Nate. I'm a failed musician and comedian. Thanks for sharing. I wash dishes. Share more. I love you. Thanks for having me. This is episode 4, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Wow, this is a fucking marathon, right? How long has this gone on now?
I don't know.
6 days, right? This is rolling tape for 6 days. All that meth we fucking did?
Yeah.
Out of that infant skull?
Yeah.
Right? Listen to that Moloch tape? All right. White guys in basements talking.
We're green and red.
Mm-hmm. I don't know what this is, but it's intimidating. I like how like red is you because like you're like aggressive with this interview process, and blue is like I'm passive and chill. I'm kind of like neutral.
Well, it's actually it projects the opposite. Your face is mostly red. My face is mostly blue.
My blues are mostly balls. That was a spinnerism.
I get it.
Yeah,
I get it. All right. Well, there. Thanks for coming on, Nate.
Can I shake your hand?
You can shake my hand.
Thank you. That was very clammy.
Yeah.
Like clammy? A basement. That's like you have like basement hands. Yeah. Dirty basement hands.
Dirty basement hands. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Boy, that was some nice dirty basement talk. Yeah.
Yeah.
I felt good about this.
Let me cut it.